Good morning. How you guys doing? It's Mike back with the thought of the day on November 12th, 2025. First, I want to give honor and praise to Ahaya Shoahaya Bahashem Yeshai Rawakadash, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit in Hebrew. Then I like to open with the serenity prayers. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. May your will, not mine, be done. Today, I want to talk about the long time argument whether Christ came, Yeshua HaMashiach, whether he came here to abolish the law, the law that Moses brought down, and the law that's in Torah. So some people go through different scriptures. They like going to Paul's scriptures and this or that nature, but I decided to go to the words of Christ himself. And we're going to listen to what Christ said when he talked about the law and what was it good or whether you should do it or not. We're going to go to Matthew 23, where Christ was speaking. So let's start at verse 1, and we're going to go down to verse 6. Christ said, they said, then speak Yeshua to the multitude and his disciples, saying, the scribes and Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. All therefore, whatsoever they bid, you observe. I'm going to read that again. All therefore, whatsoever they bid, you observe. That observe and do, but do not ye after their works, for they say and do not. So he's basically saying right there that whatever they tell you you should do, you should practice it. But don't follow the way they do it because their hearts are not good. They're not good people. And he's going to go into explaining even more. He says, for they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne, and lay them on man's shoulders, but they themselves would not move them with one of their fingers. So he's basically saying they telling all of these men and women what they should do, but they're not doing it. He's basically said that follow what they tell you to do, but do not do their works. But they themselves would not move them with one fingers. But all their works they do for be seen of men. They make broad their palasheries and enlarge the borders of their garments. So he's saying they're basically in the public showing off. They basically want to be seen as these super righteous people, but their hearts are not in to what they're doing. He said, and love the utmost rooms at feast, and their chief seats in the synagogues. So he's saying right there that when they go to the feast, you're supposed to go to the feast, but you don't be trying to show off. You don't go to the feast and try to get the biggest tables and try to show off. You don't gotta be the boss when you're sitting in church. So he's basically telling you that you're supposed to do the law, but make sure your heart is right. So I'm gonna show y'all how to do all of this with a nice heart. So the question that I like to ask is, if the Most High sent Yeshua Christ here to be the human example for us and to be the sacrificial lamb, because that's what he was. He came. Now he did do away with the sacrificial law. That's why we don't have to kill animals and lambs and things of that nature, because he came, because he is the lamb. So now, if he came here for to be an example and the law was being abolished, wouldn't the Most High have had him do everything opposite? So when it was time to do the Sabbath, wouldn't he have went in there and said, we do not have to do the Sabbath no more? When the feast days came around, wouldn't he have announced that, no, I'm not doing the feast day because I'm coming to bring a whole new thing that we ain't doing none of this no more? That wasn't the case. He did all of the customs. So why would the Most High have him to come here and do all of the customs just for us to think that we don't got to do the customs? Make it make sense. That don't even make sense. He said it in verse 3. He said, all therefore whatever they bid you observe. I'm going to read it again. All therefore whatever they bid you observe. That observe and do. You observe it and you do it, whatever they bid. How can it be more plainer than that? He came as the sacrificial lamb. So when you look at, so people say don't read the Old Testament, but when you read it in the Old Testament, it lets you know that he was coming. It lets you know that he was already there, because what was they using most of the time to sacrifice? They were sacrificing a lamb. When Abraham was about, when Abel made his sacrifice, what did Abel sacrifice to the Most High? Lamb. That's why the Most High chose his sacrifice. When Abraham's son was about to die, what did God put into place? Lamb. When we had Passover, what blood did we put? Did the Most High tell us to put over the doors? The blood of what? What did we have to sacrifice to put over the doors? Lamb. So that's why when Christ came, that's why he's called the Lamb, because he took away the sacrificial law. Now I'm going to read verse 3 again. Let's start at 2. Saying, the scribes and Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. The scribes and Pharisees sit in Moses' seat, and ought therefore whatsoever they bid you observe. That observe and do. This is not coming from Paul or one of them. This is coming from Yeshaya HaMashiach. I hope this closes the chapter on people debating about whether he abolished the law. He just explained whatever they say you do. This is Mike. Enjoy the rest of your day. Shalom.